Hi, it is great to be back with you again. I hope you had a good summer. I hope that you're ready for a good winter. And with that, let's begin. So we have questions. We're having another question answer session. Here's the first one. The last time Rebbetzin Heller spoke, I guess that's me, she answered questions about the spiritual importance of covering one's hair while davening and learning. A. Can I go to a ladies only gym? What's the view of covering one's hair around women only? B. Could Rebbetzin Heller further explain what she mentioned last time about the spiritual importance of covering one's hair, even in situations when, according to halacha, it's okay not to? So this is really one question. In halacha, it's certainly mutter not to have your hair covered in a ladies-only gym. There are no halachic boundaries on what's permitted in terms of uncovering one's body in the presence of other women. The basic picture of tznius is having a definition of self. So it doesn't have to do only with halacha, which has to do with the self you present to the world. There's also the self that you present to yourself. So I'll give you an example of this. I don't know how appropriate it is for me to tell you this story, but whatever. I have so little verbal self-control. This actually happened to a neighbor. Okay, a neighbor came from, I'm changing some of the details, from a very wealthy background in South America. Palatial life, servants, the whole thing. A family. The husband came before the wife to set things up. He took a shower in their apartment in Har Nof, and there was something wrong with the water clock, so the hot water wasn't flowing. So, without thinking too much, remember where he was coming from. There were no neighbors, there were no other people. He went out to the corridor. He just threw a towel on himself. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a towel. It was a loose robe. He put a robe on himself, and he went out and he adjusted the water clock so that the hot water would flow. But he closed the door too hard. This is his first day in Yerushalayim. Here he is in a robe outside of his house. What should he do? He's locked out. He was terribly humiliated. I mean, they have relatives in Har Nof, but he certainly wasn't going to go in the street with no kippah, bare feet, no proper clothing, just a robe. So he couldn't just stay there. His wife wasn't expected for another 2 days. So what he did was he knocked on the neighbor's door, and as he was about to open, he said, "Don't open the door." Okay. So she said, "Who is this? What is this?" So he says, "It's Mr. Cohen, your new neighbor." And he explained what had happened. And he said, "Could you please call my brother-in-law and ask him to come immediately with the key to my apartment? He lives just a block or two away." So the situation was solved. But I want you to be there for a moment. This is a man, not a woman. Okay? Even if the woman's husband would have answered the door, would he have been terribly embarrassed? Of course he would have. Why? Because wearing nothing or next to nothing reduces a person to being body. And it's not good for us. This reduction is not something that most of us feel comfortable with, even when alone, in a general sense. So because of this, most people will find their comfort level somewhere between nothing and fully dressed, even in a women's gym. For some people, this will include hair covering. The reason why hair covering might be more significant than, let's say, covering one's arms would be because hair, as we spoke about last time, for those of you who were there, is the only part of the body that's created explicitly for attraction and beauty, and therefore its power is greater than that of other parts of the body, and therefore it's a part of the body where after marriage is connected to intimacy and to the relationship between a husband and wife, and therefore even though the halacha doesn't require it, many women will select to cover their hair in an all-women's gym. What does it mean that the man provides everything for the woman to build with in a spiritual sense? Does that mean he gives divrei Torah, explains halacha, or that his very being radiates spiritual authority? It means both. It means that A man whose nature tells him subdue it is meant to subdue evil. It says in the Torah, V'kav shuha, he should conquer the earth. Evil could only be subdued through Torah. It says, Barati Yetzer Hara, Barati Torah Tavlin Lo. So through his learning and through the authority that his learning gives him as a man, by what a man is in essence, one who by nature conquers and subdues, he should be able to provide for his wife spiritually, ideally. And if he's, let's say, not a Talmud Chacham, then whatever Elokut he projects is something she should build upon. I have a problem with going to shul. That is, now that my kids are older, I no longer have a problem getting there because of them. I have a very physically demanding job as a nurse, which frequently involves working late on Friday. Shabbat morning, besides the Etzot Yetzer Hara, I am so happy not to have to get up at 5 a.m. that sleeping in is incredible.